Hi, my name is Tajazziah Booth. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my demo on my project called The Cut. A little bit about myself: I am a software engineer with a background in culture and language, which helps me design technology with a focus on connection, clarity, and real impact. Now let's look into The Cut. This is a financial visualization tool to show the emotional weight of money. Instead of scrolling through numerous bank statements and making an inference on where you stand financially, users can get an instant read on whether they are stretched, sinking, or if they're stable, based on synced transaction data and real spending patterns. The technologies I used to build this product: on the front end, I worked with EJS, CSS, and JavaScript. On the back end, I worked with Node.js, Express, MongoDB, Mongoose, Passport.js, Chart.js, and Bcrypt. And I use one API called Plaid. Now let's get into the app. This is the financial dashboard, the financial universe. Here we can see our chart, which will show all transactions that are categorized. On the right hand side, this is the breathing room, where we can see the remaining income after expenses have hit. Down below are buttons that will manipulate that score based off of the life choices and decisions that we may have to make within our financial journey. I can enter any kind of transaction via manual entry, and I can get an instant read on where all of my money is going and where it's coming from. The cool part about this app is that it's powered by Plaid for its API. And let's see how that works. And so with Plaid, we are working in a sandbox, so it's giving me some guiding instructions on how to get it all set up. I'm going to choose my bank. Now let's see what happens with the data. Big difference. We got two extra categories, one called other, the other called income of other, and our breathing gauge made a drastic change. It dropped significantly to 12%, meaning that we have more expenses than income. And we can see that coming from Plaid's transaction feed, where multiple transactions are in red and very few are in green. Now let's look at what it looks like in the code. For Plaid to work, I had to create a link token, send it to the front end. From the front end, Plaid handles the secure login process. Once a user's account is connected, I then take the temporary token that's given and exchange it for a long-term access token. And this flow for the integration is how users can get their synced transaction data without being compromised of their credentials. So I, as a developer, have no way of seeing any kind of account information or any routing information for set users. The other aspect of the project with one of my features, which was the chart, I wanted to show how just by setting type, you can get the ring, the donut ring. And it's powered by the totals coming from manual transaction and Plaid transactions. The other feature that I wanted to highlight was the calculation behind the breathing room, which is the income minus expense divided by income multiplied by 100 to turn it back into a percentage is how we get that value. One of the challenges that I ran into while building this was working with manual data versus synced data, and the two had to have the same shape, meaning that they had to be normalized to both contain data type, category, amount, note, and source. You can see it here for manual, and we can see it here for Plaid. Now the difference between the two is that Plaid actually produced transaction data that showed negative values as income and positive values as expenses, because it works with credit and debit. And so that was one thing that I had to understand and figure out. Once these two variables were able to take on their shape, and I was able to understand how income versus expense looked when working with Plaid. They each get turned into a single list, and within the controller, that list is now the all transactions, merge transactions function here. And that then powers the full ecosystem for data to be received and shown via chart and by breathing room. And you can see how it all interconnects and how it operates as one ecosystem. I want to just take the time to thank you for being able to stay to the end of my presentation. It truly means a lot. Feel free to scan this QR code, which shows my LinkedIn link. And these are other ways to contact me, my profile, my email, and my GitHub. Thank you so much, and I truly appreciate it.